Very massive welcome to you, to everybody. And please tell a friend to tell a friend, because Martin is here. And this is your favorite high life musician, Brako, and I'm here too. And so, because this is a serious matter, we say, Chobe!
Yay!
Chobe!
Yay!
Chobe!
Yay!
Yay, Martin! Say it with vim, man.
I'm too sad.
Okay, great. Well, this program is about the way forward. After all this Galamsey crisis, I call it a crisis because I'm well aware that it's causing a lot of damage and strife within the communities, and it's even beginning to affect the urban areas. So the objective of this program is to shed light on the environmental and health impacts of Galamsey, the potential for plant-based organic toxin disposal technologies, and other sustainable remediation methods. It will also explore a forward-looking approach to solving this national crisis. So, the key areas we'll be dealing with are impact of Galamsey, that's the effects on Ghana's water bodies, farmlands, forests, and communities. Then we'll look at sustainable solutions, plant-based disposal methods like biochar, phytometallurgy, and pyrolysis. Then we'll look at the role of microorganisms, integrating bacteria and yeast to detoxify contaminated soils. Then we look at the call to action, steps for government, private sector, and local communities, and traditional communities to implement these solutions. Okay, so first of all, I have to welcome my big man. This is one of the people I admire most in my life, okay? Because he is a man who knows where he comes from, and who understands his culture and the philosophies and the sense of his culture and how they've solved their problems all this while without resorting to foreign solutions that are costly and something mostly ineffective. Okay, so by way of introduction, this is Martin Yelibora. Everybody says he has a nice name, but that has nothing to do with what a nice guy he is. Yes. Martin Yelibora is the founder of Organic Green Ventures, a renewable natural resources enterprise, and the CEO of Eco Clubhouse, a sustainable agritourism facility in Damango, Savannah region. And he has an expertise in land tenure security and reclamation, climate smart technologies, and herbalism. Martin has pioneered over 20 wellness products and a range of community-driven climate smart practices. You can already tell what a smart guy is, right? Okay, and his innovations in soil reclamation, particularly through the use of biochar, microbial inoculants, and waste transformation, has potential to significantly enhance sustainable agriculture and environmental restoration in communities affected by land degradation and mining. Yes. I wouldn't like to bore you with all his accolades. I think that I've said enough to let you know that he is a very forward-thinking man with a good expertise in traditional solutions to some of the serious problems that we have. So, a very big welcome to you, Mr. Martin Yelibora.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ben, as we would often love to call you. Thank you for the elevation. And
Oh, please.
I would also like to say that you are an inspiration to we, the young ones who want to bring change. And I'm happy to be part of this discussion. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you too, Martin. And you know, a lot of people call me Uncle Ben because they love rice, but you, I know that it's not because of that. Okay, so um, let's look at the impact of Galamsey.
Yeah.
Martin, what are the most significant environmental impacts of Galamsey that you have observed?
Okay, thank you very much, Ben. And hello to our audience. It's obvious the effects and impacts of Galamsey. The major impact of Galamsey, as we see it directly now, is the destruction of the water bodies. Has become a big issue. Beyond this, we know that the water has been contaminated by heavy metals, and worthy of mention is mercury, is impact on plants and in turn impact on us. But also, Galamsey has destroyed large swaths of land that was previously used for farming. It has contaminated these lands with these heavy chemicals. If you look at our forests have not been left from this menace. In fact, I call it a debacle. Our forests have not been left out.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, can you give us an idea, like a timeline of how these effects have progressed over time? In other words, how it's progressively worsened and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting situation. That yes, Galamsey, that yes, excuse me, that yes, Galamsey has been ongoing for a long time. Mining in general has been ongoing for a long time. But if you realize in the past decade, somehow there has been a surge, and then the surge of mining, which sometimes gets complicated again with Galamsey, because before you realize the partitioning or the separation becomes very difficult.
Okay, first of all, could you explain the difference between mining and Galamsey?
Okay. So the general understanding is that there's legal mining, so we will say small scale mining, and there's illegal mining, which we call Galamsey, which means it's not sanctioned, it's not authorized.
Okay, it's not licensed. Okay.
Yes, I would also like to emphasize that there seems to be a very thin line between the small scale mining and the illegal mining.
Okay.
And
Okay. So, can you clarify what is the difference in the actual practice between legal and illegal mining? Is it the same practice, but one is licensed and one is not, or what?
Okay. So the understanding is that if you have authorization, if you have the legal rights, you would have done all the necessary environmental assessment. You would have looked at all the necessary compliance and agreed with all of that before you are given a concession. Okay. So that is the thinking, and then it is easy for the Minerals Commission to monitor and enforcement to take place. If you are involved in Galamsey, it means that you do not have any legal documentation to that. You don't have authorization, and for that matter, you most likely would not follow the due process in terms of reclaiming land, in terms of using the right practices, etc. So
Okay.
basically, this is the difference. But
Okay.
again, sometimes there's a thin line between the small scale mining and the Galamseyers, because even there are some situations where the small scale miners are also contaminating water bodies. Okay, so it's sometimes neither here nor there. It is important that we look at the bigger picture rather than we just say it's just the Galamsey that has a problem.
Okay.
Enforcement
Okay.
is a big
Okay.
issue.
Okay. Okay. So that means, first of all, that Galamsey contributes to this pollution, but I think that the large scale prospecting is what has exacerbated the situation. That means people using big equipment and machinery and going through whole heaps of soil and using the water bodies. They actually, so I hear some dam it and
Yes,
use it to sift, clean the water so that they can collect the gold.
yes,
And then
yes,
so it's basically the large scale mining, small scale mining, that is the problem.
yeah. So,
Because Galamsey as such has been going on for a long time.
exactly. So that is largely the case, and you would realize that today these two sides seems to be reinforcing each other, because if you look at the equipment that is being used, it is not
Uh-huh.
equipment that a simple community person can buy. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and then you look at some of the practices of even mining in forest. Hitherto, this is very unusual. Okay, then you have people sitting on water heads, the heads of water, and working there. Okay, and basically contaminating the water bodies and disturbing the water bodies. So it's a mix. Now the Galamseyers themselves have even expanded. We have seen situations where Galamseyers have gone into agreement with foreigners, okay,
Uh-huh.
and the Chinese have been fingered in this, where they are the ones who sponsor these practices. So it's a mix. The whole thing is mixed up, Uncle Ben, to the extent that we now would normally say, look, let us declare a state of emergency, if for nothing but in hotspots, because the waters, the whole picture is mixed up. The whole
Yeah, Martin, we're going to come to that. We're
yes.
going to come to that. So, okay, now that you've elucidated on this thing for us, I want you to tell us what are the health and impacts on the communities that depend on these waters and lands.
It's sad to say that the health impact on communities is really devastating, especially that they are not the direct and I would say the lead
Perpetrators and
beneficiaries,
beneficiaries, yes. Okay.
of these practices. Meanwhile, by contaminating their water bodies with mercury and cyanide, amongst others, they have their soils and their waters unwholesome to do anything with. There are communities who can no more drink their water. Apart from the fact that the water is not clear, if you drink, you are drinking heavy metals. By extension, we are seeing children being born and they don't have limbs. We are seeing children being born and they don't have, you can't tell their sex. And all of this is happening within rural communities. So it's not as if those who are doing the investment are those who are suffering it. No, it's the local communities. Those who are already impoverished, they are getting further impoverished. So their gains are short-term gains.
Okay. Okay. That's very, very sad to hear. So which body is responsible for ensuring that mining is done in a safe manner, that it doesn't impact the health and well-being of the communities?
So it is the Minerals Commission that we are aware are supposed to do that.
And it's the
But
same commission that awards the licenses.
yes, sure. you can see that numerous licenses have been given. But you can also tell that monitoring is an issue. Indeed, in fact, when they even monitor and they identify that something is going wrong, enforcement is an issue. So that is why a lot of people have come out and said, look, I think let's slow down with the licensing. But the body in charge of giving out the licenses, licensing the mining, small scale mining, seem not to be capable of doing the needful proper monitoring.
Yeah. Okay, but okay. Obviously, they don't have the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Department or whatever. Do not seem to have the adequate facilities and resources to monitor these things and to ensure that there's no malpractices to contaminate the lands and the water bodies.
But
if they issue the licenses, there should be obviously, like you said, an agreement on how the process they're going to use, and how it's going to minimize the environmental impact.
Yes, Ben. So the issue is that you are giving out an opportunity that is becoming a problem for you. You are giving licenses that are becoming an issue for you. That is muddying things. Won't it be reasonable that at least you pause the issuing of the licenses?
Yes, I mean it only starts to reason. It's like, it seems to me it's like your mother's house is on fire, and you're saying, "Oh, okay, we're going to see what we can do about it." When it's like it's a situation that demands immediate action.
Yeah. Because you set fire. You are giving fuel that is being used to do indiscriminate fire setting, and you continue to issue out the fuel without doing proper inventory, and then nibbling the issue in the bud. You continue to issue more fuel, so there's more fire.
Oh my God, this is terrible. So that means that the government and the government bodies that are responsible for these things are very, very irresponsible. I mean, if this is the effect of the work they're doing in issuing licenses without due process and due care, then they have a lot to answer for. But
in fact, Ben, if you say irresponsible, I would suggest to use the word they are actually implicated. I would say they are complicit. If we use the word they are complicit in the destruction of our environment.
Yes.
They are complicit in jeopardizing the health of the people.
Okay. Now, I wanted you to go one step further and explain the health impacts of these heavy metals, on the people, in terms of like mercury and arsenic or whatever that is involved in this contamination.
So Ben, it is understood by the science that these heavy metals, in fact, affect the DNA of human beings. Okay, it is understood that if a pregnant woman, if a woman is pregnant and has contact with some of these heavy chemicals, it finds its way through the placenta to the baby. And it is understood, yes, it is understood that these heavy chemicals would have impact on the mental capacity of children. Imagine that. And then, interesting enough, mercury would find itself moving kilometers through underground water, carried away to other places.
So you're saying that it affects the DNA, so especially for pregnant women. But what about those who are not pregnant and the men? Is that what affects their DNA and they become Chinese?
Very, very much so, Ben. So I have a cousin who passed, and the strong suspicion by the medical staff is that it's because he was exposed to heavy chemicals. Look, you would have more kidney problems, you would have more limbs, and you have many more respiratory problems. Okay, So by talking about the baby, I was doing an extension, but there's immediate effect on those who are close by these heavy chemicals. Indeed, it has the ability to break down your nervous system. So
Oh my God.
just imagine then how the impact of this would be on our health system. Our national health insurance system that is already challenged. Just imagine what's going to happen to it. And we seem to sleep.
So has there been any intervention by the health authorities or somebody to investigate what is going on and the extent of damage that it is causing?
Let me mention, by this question, let me mention something that happened or that we are all privy to. Indeed, the pathologist who had seen these situations emerging from heavy metals, that pathologist was never encouraged or never supported by the Ministry of Health. You are supposed to be the institution or the arm that is supposed to be very interested in this by the impact of this on the health system. But he was never supported. Indeed, we know about attempts were to prevent him from even being too vociferous. Okay, that's why I say that we are complicit. We can't run away from that.
So okay, there's two important questions I'm going to ask you. One is that we've heard that these contaminants are actually going through the pipe-borne water system at this stage as we speak. Is that true?
Sure, Ben. And when we go to the basics, what does Ghana Water Company do? It's basically the microbials that they take care of. The microbials and then the sediments, they settle them, get you clear water. Don't be deceived. It's the microbials, not the heavy metals, not the other chemicals. Indeed, the microbials, even I would say we can deal with them using antibiotics,
or even just boiling them.
Yes. But this is heavy metals that they cannot even detect.
Oh my God. So Martin.
Yeah, practices.
Martin,
yeah. Yes.
This brings us to the next question is that is this contamination affecting the brains of our people?
No two ways about that. It's affecting the brains, the nervous system of people by inhaling its judgment. Yes, it will impair your judgment, your actions, and by inhaling mercury, it has those debilitating effects. But we are of the strong opinion that if you don't take time, the faults of the DNA will be passed on to generations.
Oh my goodness!
Okay? Yes.
So, Martin. Let's cut to the chase. So this is a situation that demands the declaration of a state of emergency. That the bleeding has to stop. That means the cause of the contamination has to stop before you can even remedy the situation, right?
Very much so, Ben. Very much so.
And why is that not happening?
Because I would say complicity. The interest groups, those really in this business, are not the ones you see on surface or the ones you see on the grounds. No. Look, you see, when it's beyond just the average, and you have, I would say, heavyweights involved.
Yes.
It's basically almost like, excuse me to use the word, almost like a cartel. Okay, when you have a cartel involved, sort of, it's very difficult to deal with.
You know something that I saw, which this has brought to mind. I saw a program, either on radio or video, radio or TV, where there's a guy called Chairman to me.
Yes,
was having a discussion with the program, and he started producing gold bars.
Yes.
And he will pull one out, then everybody say, hey, and then he pulled about 7, if I'm not mistaken, at least. Yes. And they told him to stop pulling them out.
Yes. So you see, we'll say we are the Gold Coast, and we could kind of flash things, we could show off, etc. But what I say is that whatever we are doing, we should look at the implications. If the results we have right now, or if the dividends we have right now is not true sustainable practices, then what is the excitement or the joy in the show off? Perhaps that you have a lot of gold, you have a lot of money. Where is the joy? Isn't it joy that we are at peace with ourselves? Isn't it joy
Oh my
that
God!
we think about sustainability?
This is unimaginable. So I mean, that means government is being totally irresponsible.
Then, if we look at the situation as we speak, we have no conclusion
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
We have no
Okay.
conclusion.
So now let's look at the way forward. So first of all, we have established that the mining and the Galamsey has to stop
Yes.
immediately
Yes.
to stop the contamination.
Yes.
Okay, so when that stops, then it will allow the possibility of reclamation and the cleaning up of the environment. Okay, because without stopping it, there's no point cleaning something that's keeps being contaminated.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's principle number one. That there has to be a state of emergency call,
Yes.
and then an immediate cessation
Yes.
of Galamsey and small scale mining. And then, once this stuff is in effect, the responsible bodies have to look at how they're going to be able to monitor these practitioners so that they don't contaminate the environment whilst processing for gold.
Yes.
Because otherwise, then they can't continue, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Ben, in respect of what you're talking about, recall during COVID, the president said something. He indicated that we did not know how to bring back life. But as for the economy, we know how we can bring it back. I dare say that in respect of Galamsey, is basically the same thing. Okay?
No. Martin, let's examine what you just said. The president said that they know how to bring back the economy.
Yes. But
was that in jest or for real?
Yes. So I'm trying to create an analogy. Right now,
Okay.
what is happening in respect of Galamsey is just basically like a death sentence.
Yes.
So that is what emphasizes or reiterates the need for the state of emergency.
That's right.
If for nothing at all, we should have key hotspots that will be a no-go area, and I believe we have the capacity to do that. If that is done, it is basically admitting that you do not have the ability to bring life. So you stop certain things. Okay?
Very good.
Declare that state of emergency. Then this is when we come in. We are practitioners. We know how to bring back the soils. But as for life, nobody knows how to bring back life. But what is happening right now is almost suicide. And there's nothing
it's
more
the extermination of the population in the rural areas especially.
And then let's emphasize a painful one too.
My
Contamination and death that comes from it, it is not an easy death. It is a slow and painful death. As when people who have kidney problems and liver problems, it's a painful kind of death. So we cannot stay aloof.
No. And so how come the communities are not up in arms and demanding a change? How come the population is not demanding this thing?
Ben, as you have in many situations, sometimes there's what we normally call the silent many, but we have gotten to the extent. I'm not condoning that, but we've gotten to the extent that the silent many must become loud. There are many people within the communities whom it is obvious that this is not sustainable, whom it is obvious that they are suffering today is from Galamsey and unsustainable mining. Okay, but recall that we, you, me, and many others have that responsibility to support them for their voices to be heard. Because for many of them, they basically are living hand to mouth. And you know, when you're living hand to mouth, you see how difficult it is sometimes to make very smart decisions. So they are living by the day, but they are not oblivious to the effects of the and the toxins in the environment today.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, we know that in the rural communities, especially, it's the traditional authorities that run the communities. So we have to make a call upon them to insist that something be done. And if anything, there should be civil disobedience to ensure that these practices are stopped, because it's killing them.
Very well.
And when the government doesn't respond, they have to take it into their own hands.
Very, very well. You see, that is where it comes to, we say, incentivize these communities. There are indeed, it will not be fair if we don't mention that there are chiefs and community leaders who have stood against Galamsey. And you can see those communities as model communities.
Yeah.
Just as you have certain chiefs and community leaders deep neck in Galamsey and unsustainable mining.
Okay.
What we have to do is to name and shame. And for those who are doing the right thing, to incentivize them to continue to do the right thing or to scale it up.
Okay. Okay. So can you, for instance, name some of these communities that have stood up against Galamsey?
From the top of my head, I cannot recall the name of the community right now, but I know about a reverend father, I think somewhere in the western region or central region, whom alongside the local chief, etc., mobilized and prevented mining from taking place. Indeed, there were lots of inducement for them to accept that. Due to their coherence, their bond, their clear vision, they refused it. Okay, and many more communities.
We need to mention these people. To love them. Yeah. Yes, and I know also that the Asantehene has called for his sub chiefs and so to stop this Galamsey thing and try to even punish some of them. At the same time, it's important to say that the allocation of lands for prospecting and for mining is not actually done by the chiefs. The major ones are done from the Minerals Commission or something like that. So because the lands are vested in the government.
Yes. So Ben, I'll explain that and the nuances in respect of that. So you have a situation whereby if a mineral is in the ground, it will be vested in the state. Okay, once a mineral has been discovered, the state would have an oversight over it. But let's not be blinded by the fact that also some community members are complicit in this Galamsey, because without a doubt, even Mineral Commission has given permits to people and communities have refused to let them operate, because there's a community component to mining that you should have, at least have this social kind of contact with people.
So what you're saying is that the communities do have some amount of power and influence to monitor these activities and to try and ameliorate them or stop them or whatever.
They do. So when you see certain community leaders throw their hands into the air as if they cannot do anything, I do not believe that.
Then they're probably complicit.
Yeah, it is crocodile tears. But look at what the Asantehene did. Okay, he set the stage and he gave us the example how local authorities can go about it. If they are determined, they can. Indeed, when he took measures against a certain chief, it was seen that if he, who did not have the state apparatus, the whole state apparatus under his control could do that, how much more the government that we have virtually all the resources vested?
But it seems a lot of the offenders are from the government, are from government, appointees.
It is obvious, and you saw what happened to Erastus recently, okay? Because it is basically individuals taking the fight on. How is this possible? That it is individuals, investigative journalists, taking up this situation. And look at what happened to him recently. Okay, he was basically kidnapped. Okay, and no hair was lost by that.
Wow. Anyway, let's not say too much at this stage. Let's go into the remedies.
Yes.
So, one of the key reasons why we called upon you for this important program is to tell us about the remedial possibilities. Okay, because with governments, usually when any crisis comes like this, all they're looking for is an opportunity to appoint some foreign bodies and then be able to pocket some money thereby. And we know that these solutions usually do not satisfy or correct the situation. So yeah. we now need for you to tell us how we can do that from local resources.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Ben. Ben, as a practitioner, there are many innovative practices and technologies we can use to reverse the situation, especially when you come to the land-based situation. But I would like to start my proposal with other things that need to be taken into consideration. I think stronger enforcement has failed, but I'll continue to reiterate that we still require stronger.
It's very important. Yes, it's crucial.
Of our laws. Okay. I also would like to say that any initiative or any intervention that would work must be community oriented, largely community led, sort of. Okay.
Yeah.
These have better chances of surviving because they are the custodians of whatever happens within. And it is important that we don't lose sight of public-private partnerships. It is obvious that right now resources will not come from government to do any major interventions. I don't foresee it. But public-private partnership between communities and then agencies, the UN agencies and other NGOs would be very, very helpful. But let me now zoom in. Sometimes it's good that we talk, but sometimes it's also good that we propose sharp solutions.
Yes, that is why we're here.
Yes, I am a practitioner, and in my work, I have pioneered a lot of innovative solutions to bring back ourselves to life. Okay, a lot of solutions to help in the health of the environment. Mm-hmm. And so I will mention a number of things that we can look at to sort of improve the situation of contaminated water, to improve the situation of destroyed and degraded farmlands and lands in general, mm-hmm. and also how to bring the forest back as soon
reforestation, yeah.
Yes, reforestation as soon as possible, because speed matters. The sense of success matters for people to follow the intervention. Now okay. An intervention that is obvious to us and is available is what we usually call phytoremediation. We have to look at low-cost, efficient practices that communities can carry on their backs, not sophisticated measures. Okay,
affordable,
very affordable, efficient, and something that is adaptable. So one thing we know about is what we call phytoremediation. It might look complicated, but let's look at it this way. Using certain...
Can you give us the key word for phytoremediation?
Hey, Enya any ura a tree.
Hey.
So that's remediation. There are some key trees, grasses, etc., that have the ability to absorb these heavy metals. Okay, and an example is jatropha. A lot of people know jatropha. There's vetiver. Vetiver is also available. These can easily be multiplied and then used within this landscape to bring the.
And they don't go back into the food chain.
Yes, they don't go back into the food chain.
Okay.
So some of these even have been used. Vetiver, for example, has been used around dams to stabilize dams. So imagine if there's fear of a certain water body that's contaminated spilling over. Vetiver can be used on the banks. It absorbs the toxins, but it also keeps the banks intact. Okay. Most of these can be pyrolyzed. It means it can be converted to something like charcoal and be used again to continue to reclaim land. So that's one aspect. We can use plants as one of the channels or pathway. But there's something that is very interesting. When I mention it, it looks complicated, but it's not. It's as simple as it is. Bioremediation or using microbial solutions is one way that we can reclaim our lands, one way we can decontaminate our water bodies. And just imagine something like phyto. Okay, when you say bioremediation, you talk about microorganisms. Some people think too much into the laboratory.
They are germs.
Yes, yeah. So phyto is fermented. It's not far-fetched. We have used it before. And there are key bacteria that are in this environment that we have harvested them before and used them to create fertilizer. Now, if you are able to create fertilizer, local fertilizer, organic fertilizer in the local communities, using what we call the microbial solutions, it means that we have microbes within this organic matter that will help break down the heavy metals in the soils.
Okay, as a way of reclaiming the soils and the water.
Exactly, as a way of reclaiming the soils and the waters. Because you see, whatever organic fertilizer you produce is already inoculated. It already has the good bacteria in it. And once you put it in the soil, it starts absorbing the toxins. And this approach is not akin to here alone. It has been used in Japan. And there are situations where radioactive areas people could cultivate without plants being contaminated. And we have the resources here. We don't have to go far. Look at the brewer's yeast. The brewer's yeast is a microorganism.
Yeah.
It is used to do bread, etc. These have implications, and these can be scaled up. These can be populated. Okay, it's a multifaceted approach. It's not one size fits all, but we bring together. I don't want us to lose focus on is what we call biochar. Now, biochar shouldn't also be seen as anything complex. ABDA, salt is a charcoal. It is charcoal. Charcoal you are using for agricultural purposes. Charcoal you are using to create positive effects within the soils. And it is possible for us to use waste charcoal. It is also possible for us to turn biomass waste, that in other words will even be burned into the atmosphere to pollute the environment. We can transform these into what we call charcoal or biochar. Now, if we mix this biochar with this fermented food waste that I mentioned about, it gives you an incredible product that has been proven to be able to detoxify the soils, to decontaminate the soils. But these also have the ability to help plants to grow very fast. So if you have the biochar that is married with the microorganisms, and then you put it in a small pit where you are growing trees, the trees grow twice faster. And these have been done before, and they can be done again, and they can be scaled up. So usually we say soil structures. So after you have done your biochar, after you have done your organic fertilizer, and these communities can go into production of organic fertilizer. They can sell it, they can use it to reclaim their lands, but also they can also use it to grow trees. They can use it to grow their crops.
So what you're saying is that this kind of technology is such that communities can actually organize themselves and put it into practice and implement them to save the soils and the waters.
Perfect. These are local solutions. These are solutions that can be scaled up in the shortest possible time. These are solutions whose inputs or raw materials are in these communities. You don't need to go anywhere to do any special kind of procurement.
Wow.
It is local resources that you pull together. For me, the only way we can sustainably reclaim these lands, decontaminate these water bodies,
wow, that is a very, very hopeful and helpful submission you're making here.
Yeah.
So there is every hope that if it can do the right thing by stopping the bleeding, we can actually remedy the situation and then put in place measures that will ensure that there's no longer any bleeding or contamination of our water bodies and soils. And so we can stop the health hazard and the extermination of our communities that is going on at the moment. Yeah,
very much so, Ben. We can bring the soils back. We can bring the water bodies back. But we cannot be working whilst there's a force working against us.
Yes. That's why it's important to call a state of emergency and to stop, these practices, forthwith. So, Matt, this may not be in your area of expertise, but you are a wise man. So tell me, how can we ensure that, what can we do as a people, as communities, to ensure that there is a cessation to these activities?
So first and foremost, we have indicated what government has to do. If government does that, it gives us that space, okay, for us to engage.
But how can we make sure the government will take the action? That is what I'm asking. Because the government is aware that, has not even declared a state of emergency. It's not as if they're not aware that this is a dire situation. Yes. This is a life or death situation. It's like I said, it's like your mother's house is on fire, your mother's inside, and you're sitting now playing, kwani.
Yes. So Ben, nobody can sit on the fence. So far as Galamsey and the contamination of our lands are concerned, nobody can, and nobody should sit on the fence.
Should sit on the fence.
Everybody should be loud.
We should all join arms together and make sure that this action is taken.
Very much so. And remember, the people should remember that they have power. The only reason that the politician will not kowtow to what is sustainable is because you fail to realize that you have the power. Once you make your interest clear, the politician has to kowtow or agree to your needs. And that is why people should know they have power. And people should not keep quiet. We should be as loud as possible. And I'm not happy of late that it seems like there's a cool-off. There is no cool-off. What is happening is it's close to a genocide, sort of, in inverted commas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody should sit on the fence. Indeed, this discussion we are having should not be hidden somewhere. People should be angry. And people should be very angry. And people should insist on the right thing to be done. And for me, I was happy some few weeks ago, when there was excitement about action being taken, and somehow
Oh, you
it
mean
looks
the
like
workers thing that's
yes, because
turned out to be a fiasco?
yes, because at the end of the day, has anything changed on the ground so far? I don't
Oh,
think so.
so our elders and people, leaders are betraying us.
Exactly.
Seriously, this
Yes,
is just
and
not acceptable,
yes,
and
and
people should bear that in mind.
yes, people should, and if people stand, if the masses stand, authority will listen
Okay,
because
so
the power is in
our
us.
time is fast spent. So, in conclusion, we are saying that looking forward, there is possible solutions. In
Yes,
fact, there is a dire demand that certain things be put in place immediately to stop the carnage that is happening, the genocide of our people by the
yes,
greedy ones. Okay, and that is that first of all is immediately the government has to declare a state of emergency and stop all these small-scale mining and Galamsey activities to stop the contamination, continued contamination of the environment and the lands and the waters. And then two, we have to put measures in place to clean and decontaminate the lands and the water bodies.
yes,
And then three, to put in place measures that will ensure that the practices that will be used in the resumption of mining activities will not end up in contaminating our water bodies and our lands. So going forward,
yes,
everything will be fine. But I
yes,
think at this juncture, it is important for us to call upon our people, our leaders, our chiefs, and all the grown-ups that we have to put pressure. We have to make our stance known so
yes,
that the government will act and do something. And if the government doesn't do something, we should know that it is us and our people who are suffering. So we have to do something. We definitely have to act on this.
yes, yes. And Ben, we need a strong Choboy.
Chowe!
Yay!
Yeah, we need a strong response to the Chowe too. Oh, Martin. Well, I think it is
The fight.
only right and proper for me to say a massive thank you. This has been very, very informative and educational, and brought a lot of clarity to the situation. At least we're looking at possibilities of remedying the situation, and we thank you very much for your knowledge and wisdom, and especially for your will to share with Ghana and the communities about what is possible to do to remedy the situation. We are in a dire state where our communities are being exterminated, and it is high time that we did something. Okay? There has to be some elders at home. It's like a home without any grown-ups, just left with children. No responsible people. So thank you very much, Martin. And we reserve the right. We don't have a right to, but we reserve the possibility of recalling you to do further discussions on the same issue and maybe other issues. So
thank you very much, Ben.
Don't go.
I'm on it.
So give us your concluding last words.
Well, what I would say is that we are all in this together. Let it not be that in the next 5 years, 10 years, you would sit and say, had I known. And the audience who are listening to us, none of this is about politics, but this is about livelihoods. This is about our future.
It's about our future, our survival.
Yes, and in this battle, you need to take a stance.
Everybody has to take a stance. Yes.
Everybody has to take a stance. And we call upon everybody. Everybody. We are the soldiers for our state. We are the captains of our souls.
Yes.
Let's fight this battle.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And everybody, please share this extensively, and then implore people to take action to make their voices heard.